It is said, do in Rome as the Romans do. But for that, you'll have to know what the Romans do in the first place. And that's where we come into the picture. So get ready for a cultural trip around the world. We've got some major culture shocks here that'll make you think, is this for real? Let's dive in. First up, use your hands wisely. What do you do when you need to show your friend something across the street? You point there, right? Well, lucky you. If you were in some other country, you could get your butt kicked over this. If you don't want to feel the wrath of the Malaysians and Indonesians, you'd better use your fingers right. Pointing at stuff is considered offensive in Malaysia and Indonesia. So, how do we point out something there? Just use your thumb or open palm for that, and the chances are that you'll survive your visit. In many countries around the world, pointing altogether is considered rude. In Africa, you're only allowed to point to inanimate stuff, and you'll be seen as a rude person if you point to people. In Korea, use both your hands while handing something to another person. Also, while pouring a drink, use your other hand for support. These gestures are a sign of respect. In Vietnam, if you call someone, make sure you call them with your fingers pointing to the ground. Otherwise, it'll mean you're calling them like a dog, and you might get slapped. Wow. Next, give it up to the people of Nicaragua for innovation. Imagine getting confused because someone's making faces as if they're trying to kiss you. Yes, this happens in Nicaragua because people there are too lazy to use their hands to guide you in the right direction. Instead, they prefer to make duck-like faces to tell you the direction. They then move their lips in the direction they want to point out and also move their head in that direction. Okay, so how to move your lips when you need to guide someone towards the south? Someday we're going to try this lip moving directions technique. So if a person ends up at the wrong location, not our fault. And get used to the standard greeting in France. Thanks to Emily Lost in Paris, we know a little bit about the French people. For example, we know that in France, people kiss each other on the cheek when they meet, and it has nothing to do with their feelings. It's a tradition there. The French will kiss you to greet you whether they know you or not. Though the French haven't reached a consensus on the number of kisses they are supposed to give, it varies from region to region. So next time you're in France, try to be confused by a new tradition there and not this one, because we just decoded it for you. Next up, spitting brings good luck to the Greek. Imagine getting married to a Greek person and all the guests at the wedding are spitting on you. Red flag? No, a tradition. Trust us, we're as confused as you, but let's try to respect it. Greeks believe that spitting on special occasions will bring good luck to the person being spat on. Over time, the tradition has turned hygienic, and the guests will not actually spit on the bride, just make some spitting noises. Greeks also do the same on baptisms because they believe that life will turn out good for the child. If only it was that simple. Next, you can still hang out with a person after their death. No, don't worry, we aren't going to tell you about some black magic ritual to connect with the soul of a dead person because Denmark gave us an easy way out. They prefer to hang out in graveyards instead of parks to include the dead in their gossip and celebration. Their cemeteries are well kept for this reason, and when the weather is nice, you won't get a good spot. So, here's the bright side. You might have never got the chance to meet the famous Danish author Hans Christian Andersen when he was alive, but you can hang out with him in the Copenhagen Cemetery. Also, we're not sure how the dead feel about this, as they were supposed to rest in peace. Instead, they have to meet people even after they're dead. Note to self, don't get buried in Denmark. And now, slurping increases the flavor of food according to Japanese and Koreans. Wow, does that mean we don't have to make an effort in cooking? Instead, we should just tell our guests to slurp? Sounds great. If people find it annoying when you slurp while eating or drinking, book a flight to Japan or South Korea. People there slurp religiously. This is also because they slurp their noodles instead of winding them around a chopstick as most people do in the West. This way of eating is noisy, but according to the Japanese and Koreans, it means that you're enjoying your food. So don't get shy from slurping your food in Japan or Korea. Next up, burping is to Chinese what slurping is to Koreans. Ethiopians. While many countries consider burping indecent, and it's not something you'd like to do in public, you're totally allowed to burp loudly in China. It means you're complimenting the chef. The louder the burp, the louder the compliment. And using the right hand makes the mayor go. Using your left hand for eating or greeting someone is rude in the Middle East, Sri Lanka, and some parts of Africa. They have a reason to act in this way. People there use their left hand for cleaning themselves, and hence the left hand is considered dirty. So make sure that you use your right hand when dealing with someone over there. And let the people of Ethiopia feed you, or else face their wrath. If you're a reserved person visiting Ethiopia, you might open up after this trip because people in Ethiopia know how to bring people closer. Normally it's done through food, but Ethiopians have taken it one step further. They'll make your food and feed it to you too, by their hands. It's their way of showing love. You're not allowed to say no because you'll look rude this way. So if you can't remember the last time someone fed you, you know where to go. Next, never ask a woman her age. Not in Korea though. People in Korea decide how to address someone after asking them their age. This has everything to do with their language because it has different words to address people in different ages. People there feel offended if someone younger than them talks to them casually. Elders are shown respect not only through actions but by words too. That's why it's common for Koreans to ask someone's age before addressing them to not offend the other person. While we're on the topic of age, let's tell you that Koreans have a different way of calculating their age. They consider a newborn baby a year old by rounding up 9 months to a year. And on the first day of a new year, they add another year to the age. It's called the Korean age. Pretty complicated, right? But according to the news, the new president of Korea also finds this confusing and has plans to end this system. And choose your gift wisely in China. Whoever thought that giving gifts can put you in trouble was right, because it's a thing in China. No, they aren't against all gifts, just some of them. For example, don't ever think of giving a cut flower to someone in China, as it's only done at funerals. Beware of the handkerchiefs too, as they symbolize goodbyes. Clocks and shoes are all bad gifts for similar reasons. Also, steer clear of gifting sharp objects because it means you want to cut ties. So what do we even give? If you don't know what the person likes, fruits, tea, and even alcohol are safe choices to go with. Next, enjoy getting sprayed by tomatoes in Spain. Throwing tomatoes does not always mean boo-hooing someone. The Spanish have a whole festival for this, and they love getting tomatoes rubbed all over. There's an interesting story behind the La Tomatina festival. In 1945, a parade went way out of control when people started to throw tomatoes at each other. Authorities failed to stop this practice, and eventually it turned into a festival. The perfect example of if you can't beat them, join them. The rules of the festival are simple. Squash the tomatoes before throwing them and enjoy. Imagine having a watermelon festival. It'd literally break some bones. Lastly, keep your feet away from the Thai. The Thai have classified the body parts in terms of respect. Head deserve the most respect and feet the least, or should we say none at all. So never touch or pat a Thai person on their head. Their heads are a sacred place for them, and no one is allowed near them. Make sure to keep your feet away from other Thai people, even if that means people on the coins. We aren't kidding. The Thai will give you disgusting looks if you accidentally step on a coin, because it has a picture of their king on it and they respect their king. And that's a wrap for this video. So, what do you think about these traditions practiced in other cultures? Which one shocked you the most? Do tell us in the comments below, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button for more videos like this. See you at the next one.